Thanks for joining me tonight. It's Jen Volka, memory specialist at mymemorypal.com. Tonight is our third coaching session, and we're going to talk about anxiety and how it actually impedes memory. And the reason we're going to talk about the negative side of it is so we can find the positive counterpart and make our bodies physiologically respond to a way that is optimum for the reception of recall and storing new information. So let's get started. Anxiety is created by a stress hormone called corticoids. Corticoids are the antithesis to like dopamine and serotonin. Corticoids have a place in our physiology makeup, no doubt. These particular hormones contribute to our fight or flight status, which is important for our survival for sure. And especially we're in the old days when it came to hunting and gathering, things like that, protecting our tribes. However, we have a lot of stressors in our life right now that create a lot more anxiety than we need to. Whether we're talking about the anti-aging crowd because life becomes a little bit more tenuous as we get older, maybe certain things feel uncertain. It could even be the transition of just getting into our golden years that is tough. There's a lot of different uncertainties that make us feel anxious. On the other side, if you're a younger person and you're in high school getting ready to go to college, the stress of preparing for college, the social anxiety that is so pervasive here in Silicon Valley, very, very tough, creates a lot of anxiety, a lot of corticoids in the brain. If you're a college student, it's about, what am I going to be doing when I get out of college? Am I prepared? Will I have a good job? Am I getting good enough grades? And we want to be able to get a grip on these anxieties because they're increasing. Things like global climate change and crazy things that often are said by our president drive us crazy, create anxiety. Where's our nation going? How are we going to contribute to the bigger world? It's just fascinating to hear and see the statistics of the rise in anxiety. And quite frankly, in my coaching practice here in Silicon Valley, anxiety is one of the largest growing sectors in my client base. So in order to combat anxiety, the most important skill I can, preach about, teach you about, direct you about is going to be mindfulness. And it's really not a big deal. You have to do a little bit of training, but once you get into that training groove, you're humming along, and it is something you can pull up anytime you need to. You can pull it up when you're driving. You can pull it up when you're standing in line at the DMV. You can pull it up when you're riding your bicycle. I mean, there are so many good things you can do with mindfulness. And there are different levels depending upon where you want to go, how deep you want to go. There are different brainwave levels. Some are just, awake but calm. Some are a little bit more beneath the surface on your way to a deeper state of meditation, which gets you into the theta wavelength. And for our purposes, the wavelength we want to stay in is just below awake. We want to be able to operate and do the things we want to do, like memorize things, like think through where we left our keys. But we want to do it in a calm state, because the moment that we actually try to think too hard is the moment the corticoids start to kick in, because we're kind of fighting ourselves. We're fighting against the positive forces, and we're really getting into a more negative flow. So in order to do that, I would encourage you, invite you, beg you to go to YouTube. There are millions of wonderful videos on YouTube that will teach you mindfulness. One of my favorite apps, and there is a free component to it, is Headspace. The idea here is a little bit of practice every day. You will start to feel like you understand what that deeper breathing is and how it helps you to relax. I will give you a simple technique right now called the 4-4 breathing. And as I describe the 4-4 breathing to you, keep in mind that when you do your exhale, you are going to be pushing your belly button toward your spine, back toward your spine. You want that pressure when you contract the belly button and you contract the pelvis floor and you push your tummy toward your spine. Not only are you aiding the flow of air going out of your body on the exhale, you are actually tapping into your parasympathetic system and actually letting it relax. So it's a wonderful tool. So the 4-4 breathing is breathing into the count of 4 and breathing out to the count of 4. I will demonstrate. Now what you don't see is that my belly is actually pushing back toward my spine, as I described earlier in the video. That compression or that contraction is helping tap into my parasympathetic system, and it helps my whole being relax. It works on my brain and my body. A couple of tricks. Try doing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and then out 1,000, 2,000, etc. You want to slow it down. So the more you slow it down and the longer your inhale is, the longer your exhale is, the more you are really getting into a flow state for meditation. You don't have to do it super long in the beginning. And once you actually do this for like 2 to 6 weeks, you can actually say, when I get stressed, I'm going to do 1,000, 2,000, and then exhale 1,000, 2,000, pushing my belly button in if I'm in the middle of a moment that I don't have a lot of time for. I don't recommend, however, doing that in the beginning because you need the practice. So 4 is the minimum. Some people do 4 in, hold for 5, 5 or 6 out. I mean, it's crazy. There's all sorts of methodologies. Some do 4 in, 8 out. Find something that works for you. Check out the Headspace app. You can also look on YouTube for the physiology of diaphragmatic breathing. And the diaphragmatic is with a PH, D-I-A-P-H-R-A-M-A-T-I-C. And there is a fabulous medical animation of what diaphragmatic breathing is. It doesn't happen up here in the shoulders. It happens in your belly. So try it on for size. And of course, as usual, we want to go back to video 1. Think about what our 10 steps are for optimizing a new habit. Just to reiterate briefly, you want to make sure that you put this new habit of doing the mindfulness in your calendar with reminders so that it does happen in your schedule at a time that actually and realistically works. If you don't have it scheduled in there, it won't happen. If it's not happening, you want to do a reflection and just sit for a little bit with yourself and say, why isn't it working? Chances are you have it at the wrong time in your schedule. So really be purposeful about when you plan this little 5 to 10 minute session and see if you can challenge yourself for the next 7 days until you see my video again, and see how you feel in terms of being in control of a good 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 inhale, and the same slowly on an exhale. Don't forget to push your belly button towards your spine. We are headed to a variety of exercises that will help to reduce anxiety, because if you reduce anxiety, the good news is you will be able to recall more, you will be able to store more in your brain while you're learning something new. For me, of course, it's always Spanish, and for you it may be these exercises. So it's really worth it. There are a few other great side effects. Good for the heart, good for your neurons to keep them healthy. It keeps away the neurotoxin stressors, which is a whole nother category we'll talk about in future videos. So make a commitment to it. Okay, folks, signing off for tonight. Good night.